Hi there, welcome to the channel or welcome back. My name is Angela and this week I'm doing something a little bit different here on the channel. If that sounds interesting, stick around. If you followed my channel this year at all, then you probably are aware that I tend to do weekly garden vlogs highlighting everything that's gone on in my garden over the previous week, whether it's failures, successes, just different tasks and activities, chores that I've done. But this week I am doing a plant spotlight. I hope that's showing up really well. I've got two sunrise bumblebee tomatoes, and I've got a bunch more of these, but these are like the best looking of the bunch. And what I would like to do is to do a plant spotlight all about this tomato. I had thought about starting this series several years back, and I started out with a plant spotlight on another cherry tomato, Matt's wild cherry, and that's as far as I got. So I thought it would be fun to kind of do this as I have success with the different plants this year, what little success I'm having in my veggie garden this year, to kind of highlight those plants and vegetables that are just doing outstanding. So that is what we're doing today. And as I mentioned, this time it's another tomato. It's called, once again, Sunrise Bumblebee. It's a cherry-sized tomato, a little bit larger than cherry-sized, I guess, or on the larger end of the spectrum of cherry tomatoes. And while a lot of my plants got off to a very poor start this year, including my tomato plants, this tomato plant was the first one to give any produce. So I'm really excited about that. And I've already picked a handful of these off of the plant. And I have a feeling that if my plants were doing better overall, like whatever they've lacked this year, if they had done better with all their requirements met, then this plant probably would be producing a lot more. So far, I think I've only harvested like 9 of these cherries. I've been keeping count this year because everything's doing so poorly, and I just kind of want to gauge what performs well this year, because that's what I will probably save seeds from and replant next year. So while every other tomato plant, most of them have been struggling, this one has at least been successful. So I'm going to give you a little bit of details about these tomatoes, and I'll show you the plant, and I'll show you some more tomatoes that I've harvested in varying stages of ripeness, so you can see what they look like when they're first turning from green to they go to yellow, and then they start getting striations of orange and red. So they're really beautiful and they taste good. They're very sweet, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's talk about the seeds and the plant itself. I got these seeds from High Mowing. It looks like they are currently out of stock on these, but I did notice many other seed vendors that sell the Sunrise Bumblebee. So if you did want to get some, you should be able to find a seed packet somewhere. They are indeterminate and open pollinated, so I've already actually saved seeds from the very first one that I picked, so I'll be sure to have enough seeds to plant next year and in subsequent years. And per the package, it calls for 70 days to maturity, and I have to say that's pretty spot on. My first one that I harvested was 69 days after the seedlings went into the ground. Of course, I started from seed, but I put the plant in the ground on, I think it was like May 5th or something like that. Actually, I took notes. I'm going to look down at my notes. I put the plant in the ground on May 5th and pulled the first fruit off on July 12th. And if I did my math right, that's 69 days. So it really followed what it listed on the seed packet. And as I mentioned, when they first go from green, they start yellowing, and then they turn reddish and orange with those beautiful striations. I'm going to take you over here to the plant here in just a minute. I do still have some green ones on, so I'll show you what that looks like. And these seedlings only took 3 days to germinate on a heat mat. So I thought that was pretty spectacular too. I know tomato seeds generally are pretty quick to germinate, but 3 days is really good. I have a few of these in a bowl, the most recent ones that I've harvested. So I am going to show you. Here is a yellow one. And I have to say, I've been pulling these off just when they first start to turn yellow. We don't have our fence finished yet, so I still do have some heavy deer pressure, and the deer have on numerous occasions this year chomped down on my tomato plants. So as soon as I see the fruits start to yellow, that first blush as they call it, I'm pulling it off the plant and letting it ripen inside, and it still like has really good flavor. I can't really compare it to a completely fully vined ripened sample yet because I haven't let one go to full ripening on the vine, but I do have to say the flavor's really good after pulling it off at first blush, letting it sit inside and ripen in the house. They're still really flavorful. They're very sweet. I like the fact that they are, you know, kind of a larger size. That way, if you want to, they're easier to cut up if you want to put them in salads or whatever you're making. And also, they're a nice size to just bite, like grab one right off the plant and eat, and you feel like you've really got something there. So enough about this. I'm going to take you over and show you how the plant is doing and show you the tomatoes that are still on, and then we'll meet back. So I really only have a handful of tomato plants that are doing much of anything, but this one right here is the Bumblebee. It's called Sunrise Bumblebee. So it still has a few tomatoes on, and overall the plant still looks pretty good. It's got some damage there, a little bit of yellowing of the leaves, but overall it's doing pretty good. And I do have it in one of my very sturdy cages here, but it's kind of bursting out, but it'll have support because there's another cage right here and then a cage over on the other side of it, so it'll have all the support it needs as it continues to grow, hopefully. And I feel like that this let me show you before I continue on. So this is one of the green tomatoes there, and you can even still, I hope it's showing up, see the variegated color or striations, the light green and dark green. And down here is another yellow one. I'm going to go ahead and take that one off. So you can see here, as it's turning, you can still see some green on it, but it is turning yellow. And I'm finding that that works out really well. It doesn't really seem to hinder the flavor because the flavor's so good. I'm going to walk around on the other side here and show you my very favorite cherry tomato is the Sun Gold, and I'm just now starting to get tomatoes coming to ripeness on this plant, although I have a bunch right there. And these Sun Golds are so sweet and so flavorful, but I think that these Sunrise Bumblebees might be giving it a run for its money. Maybe I'll have two favorite cherry tomatoes. I do like the fact that these are larger, like better for snacking. Either way, I think now I have another favorite when it comes to cherry tomatoes. And I guess that's pretty much all I have to say. I will keep you guys posted on how my Bumblebee plant does as the summer goes on. We're still pretty far out from our first frost, so I'm hoping that I will still get bunches of more tomatoes off of the plant. I'll let you guys know how things progress, and I am still keeping a tally, so I hopefully will have a final count on the number of tomatoes from the plant by the end of the growing season. I hope that this was helpful for you, and my question of the day is, what is your favorite tomato and why? Let me know in the comments if you don't mind. I would love to hear about that, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.